Drive with Steve Jaxon on the news and talk of Sonoma County. 1350 KSRO.
That, of course, the great Bill Engvall, ladies and gentlemen. He'll be appearing live at Flint Center in Cupertino on the 24th. This is The Drive, 1350 KSRO. I'm Steve Jaxon. Thanks for riding with us, and thanks for joining us, Bill.
Steve, how are you?
I'm doing okay. Was very happy about yesterday.
I was, too. It was a wonderful moment in this country's history. And it was interesting because I was sitting there watching it with my 17-year-old who had an interesting outlook on it. He was all excited about it, and I said, this is history. And he goes, I know. He goes, but you know what's more exciting? I said, what? He goes, this is the first president that I get to decide, at least in part, whether he gets another term or not, because he had not been old enough to vote.
Right. Yeah.
And it was interesting. And I go, wow, that's really smart thinking. Why can't you apply that to your math class? Now, here's my question. I was listening to you earlier when I was on hold, and this just baffles me, and maybe somebody can explain it to me. How is it that oil and gas can fluctuate? I mean, when you go for a job, you say, this is the salary I want. And you can't walk in one day and go, you know what, I feel pretty good. I'm going to raise my salary. Or, you know what, I'm not feeling too good. I'm going to go ahead and lower my salary for this week. I don't understand how the same gas and the same oil can fluctuate with dollars.
It's one of the great problems of our times, man.
My God. It's like, here's what I love. This is I love the fact that we're using less gas, but somehow it keeps going up.
Yeah.
It's like, we want you guys to use less gas and be more green, but we're still going to put the screws to you.
Right, exactly.
But I hope, you know what I hope out of this whole Obama thing, President Obama can do, is, you and I both know that you and I could get up there and go, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and make all the promises in the world, and nothing could ever happen, just because we don't have to go. Actually, if we did it, we probably could get it done because we wouldn't have to go through Congress. But
that's the thing.
I just hope that he sets this ball back in motion the right way. It's like what he can do in 4 years, I don't know really. But if it can, it was so much fun today walking around, and people just had this renewed sense of hope on their face.
That's it, man. I know. It's everywhere.
And it's a great feeling. We haven't had that feeling in a long, long time.
I know. And, God, I mean, really long. I mean, I don't know. In our lifetime, we're the same age, roughly.
Yeah, I don't remember it. Do you?
No, not really.
Other than, I think other than, and not to get political, but other than, what I thought was hysterical was that I was watching MSNBC, and they said, which I know a lot of my redneck friends are going to go, what? But at the beginning of the last 8 years, we were trying to decide what we were going to do with this surplus of money. And now I'm realizing I might not get my California tax refund.
That's correct, sir.
What the hell happened?
I know. Well, that's one of the biggest hassles of the entire thing over the last 8 years. Bill Clinton did leave us with this $1 trillion surplus, and now we got a $1 trillion deficit. And
I know.
It's amazing.
But it's I tell you, the show to get to the funny stuff instead of the stuff going, oh yeah, that's right, we have no money. This show this in Cupertino is going to be just so much fun for me because, as you've been aware, I've made my career making jokes about my kids. And now they're gone. They're older. My son's leaving for college in August. And so my wife and I are going to be empty nesters, which it's weird because somebody in an interview one time said, how are you going to handle this? And I said, well, let me think about that. I can sleep in late, walk around the house naked. My wife and I can go out wherever we want. Yeah, that's going to be tough to adjust to.
Good luck with that, Bill. I know it's going to be it's not going to be good.
But
somebody's got to do it.
Because I'm starting to see life through these eyes that are older now. Being well into my 50s, and there's sometimes the items in the news that I didn't used to pay any attention to now just jump off the page. And some of these I know you've covered. About the 19-year-old kid that ran for mayor in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and got like 75% of the vote.
Right, exactly.
My thought was, how bad a job was that other guy doing? That almost the entire town went, we're going to go with the kid.
The teenager makes sense to us. Who wouldn't want a teenager running things?
Yeah, right. I was telling my friend, I would have just given money to sit in on that debate.
Yeah.
The incumbents, like, if I'm reelected, I'll pave all the potholes, we'll make sure the senior citizens have hot meals, and I'll lower taxes. And they go to the kid, and he's like, whatever. How about a kegger every Friday?
while he's texting his friends at the same time.
Boy, there's another hot button.
Oh, Don't
you know
get me started either. Yeah, I hate it.
Don't IDK me. Don't LOL me. I don't need to know something I said made you RFOL. You know, here's my thing. If what you're sending me seems so long you have to abbreviate it, then don't send it.
I agree, man. I tried sending one to my son about a year ago. It was probably my first attempt at a text message, and I wrote about 4 words. It took me a half hour. I said, that's it. I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah, listen, I barely got grasp of this language.
Yeah,
I don't need
don't
to
throw
learn.
another one at me. If I want another second language, I think I'll go with Italian or something.
Yeah,
you know?
something at least will help me out. But oh my God, all these kids now, it's like they're getting these thumb injuries now.
Right.
But
I think there's going to be a few generations down the road where we're going to evolve, and when humans are born, they're going to have really huge thumbs.
Or everybody's head will be cocked to the side just because they'll have that little chip in their ear. That's my other favorite thing is when you see people walking down the street. We used to call these people crazy because they would just talk to themselves.
Right, exactly.
But now they're just people on the phone.
Right.
They all got these little Bluetooth things.
In California, it's illegal now to drive without one of those things or a similar hands-free device. And we had a listener once who called, and I said, "Are you using the hands-free?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm wearing the state-mandated dork earring."
Well, this is what's sad to me. We had to make it a law. People couldn't just use common sense and go, "I shouldn't text with both hands while I'm trying to drive."
No.
Did we really need a law for common sense?
Yeah,
but it is amazing. My kids, for my birthday, they bought me this big high-tech cell phone. I'm so not high-tech. I can work the cell phone. I just need a phone that makes a call. My son was just about to wet his pants over this thing. He goes, "It's got a GPS unit in it." And I go, "Why?" And he said, "So if you get lost." And I said, "Well, if I get lost, son, I'm just going to call your mom to come get me." It worked at the bar I was at 2 weeks ago.
We're talking to Bill Engvall. He's going to be live at the Flint Center, Cupertino, on the 24th. Let me just do a little quick history here. Now, I remember you. I was actually working at a country station, and we started playing "Here's Your Sign" back in like '96.
Yeah, wow, it's been a long time.
That was some great stuff.
I never thought that little bit. I mean, if you'd have told me back then that was going to be the thing that would get me where I'm at, I would have said you're crazy. But it's just a little silly bit for those who are listening who may not know what it is. It's that I just think that stupid people should have to wear signs that just say "I'm stupid." That way you wouldn't rely on them. You wouldn't ask them anything. And when people would ask you stupid questions, you would just say, like the one I used on the song was that I was driving around, I had a flat tire. I pull into a gas station. The attendant walks out, looks at my car, looks at me, and says, "Tire go flat?" And I said, "No, I was driving around. The other three just swelled right up on me."
Here's your sign.
Yeah, here's your sign. And that little thing just took off, and people today, and it's funny because kind of a funny story. About 3 months ago, I was I had one of these 30 flights out of like Nashville. And I was just tired, and I was walking through you're just stumbling through the airport, kind of just barely. You just want to get on the plane so you can go back to bed. Right. And this guy runs up and grabs me, and I thought, oh, my God, this guy's going to hit me. And he goes, "Here's your sign guy." And I said, yeah, I am. And he goes, "Here's your sign for you." And I said, "Okay." He said, "My son was walking the dog the other day, and here's your sign." And I said, "There's no joke there." And he goes, "You'll figure it out."
Oh, man. That probably kept you awake the whole flight.
Oh, my God. I had to go get a coffee just to settle down.
Oh, man. I want to talk a little bit about Blue Collar Comedy Tour and stuff, and we'll talk more about what's happening in Cupertino. We're talking to Bill Engvall. I'm so glad you could join us this afternoon. 3:46 the time. We'll be back on the drive on 1350 KSRO.